So inviting relaxation into the body, softening wherever that's available. Letting go of any need to relax perfectly. And instead just relaxing in a relaxed way. Softening around any sort of chronic tension that doesn't want to relax. So in this way, accepting the resistance, not resisting the resistance. Maybe even giving a little love to any of the areas that are not willing or able to relax. Any areas of pain. And of course, adjusting and shifting your posture might be a skillful thing to do if in setting up, maybe things weren't quite in alignment. So even if you're working towards stillness or really committed to stillness in your meditation practice, sometimes the skillful thing to do is make an adjustment if your body's not quite set up in a way that's going to be supportive of releasing resistance. Taking another few moments here to relax in this way. Intentionally relaxing around resistance so that we're not building up layers of resistance to resistance, tension around tension around tension. Instead, it's just, oh, there's this knot in my shoulder. There's this knot in my shoulder and there's all this extra tension around it. And then there's this sort of emotional tension around it. And then there's maybe this mental tension around it. Instead, it's just, here's a knot in my shoulder. So along with inviting the body to relax on a purely physical level, we're also inviting a relaxation or a release of resistance to anything happening emotionally that might feel challenging, uncomfortable, painful. allowing for it to just be what it is. Accepting something doesn't mean we have to like it. And it doesn't mean we might not take skillful, mindful action around supporting a change. But while resistance and pushing can sometimes help motivate a change, it doesn't sustain. It's not sustainable. It's not a sustainable way to grow, to evolve, to awaken. It can only get you so far. And then in one way or another, you burn out. At least this is what I've seen. You also become identified with that self that's pushing and doing and resisting and fighting. So we can accept it and not like it. We can accept it and be committed to supporting a change. And this is sustainable. This is where actual healing and evolution and awakening can start to blossom, can start to bloom, can become a new normal. We can take this same course with what's happening in the mind. We can let go of the resistance to the activity of the mind rather than trying to rein in, to cordon off, to squash or silent what's happening at the mental level. We might consider just accepting it. Just like we can relax around that knot in the shoulder, there is a relaxation that can happen around contraction in the mind. You can expand out so much bigger than what's happening in the mind. Do the same thing here with the external experience. sounds and sights. If there's a sound in your environment that's kind of bothering you or quote unquote distracting you. What if there's a relaxation, a release of resistance around that sound? Just softening, softening, softening around it. And this means a relaxation, a release of suffering at the body level and at the mind level. What you may start to notice as resistance softens, as the contraction around experience expands, is that the separation between mind, body, external, internal starts to soften as well. This sort of inherent resistance of this is me, my body, this solid experience of being. That resistance can start to soften. The resistance to unity, to oneness, can start to become thinner and thinner and thinner. And it may be for you right now, hanging out with softening resistance around physical pain or emotional pain or an annoying sound. That might be a great place to continue to hang out. But if this is something you're accustomed to, if you've been practicing for a while, then you may start to get more subtle with what's in resistance and where you might soften, where you might expand. The edges softening. If this is a new concept and you want to explore it, one way of doing that could be to bring your attention to mental talk, to what's happening at the mind level. And start to listen to it, to the activity of it. The arising and passing, the musicality, the volume, the pitch, the pace. Letting go of the content and noticing the dance, the flow of the mind. So no resistance to the arising and passing of mental phenomena. Not trying to quiet it, change it. Offering full, spacious, expansive acceptance to this activity. And then shifting attention externally into sound. And exploring in exactly the same way. Dropping into the dance, to the flow of sound. Accepting in this spacious, expansive way, whatever sound arises. And then you might start to notice how this internal sound and this external sound are not so different. And that the boundary between what's happening in the mind and what's happening externally in sound is a construct. which can be seen through, which can dissolve. Sometimes this can create a sensation of having no head. A feeling of unification of mind and external sound. Expansive. Unencumbered with a perception of separation. And you can, of course, explore the same thing with internal body, external world. And a simple way to start that exploration is to just feel for the edges of your skin and then get curious at a sensory level. Is this actually an edge? Can I actually find where I end and where the world around me begins? And as we practice letting go of resistance over time, we let go of the resistance of unity, of oneness. And over time, this is accepted, this is known. That there is no separation. So every time we're practicing releasing resistance in even the most mundane ways, we are on that path of coming home to what we are. Vast, spacious, mysterious, endlessly surprising, never separate. So you might wish now to revisit some simple relaxation, noticing if any part of the body or mind has started to brace or grip or tighten up around experience. And to whatever degree available, inviting softening in, inviting relaxation in. And maybe bringing in just a little bit of gentle movement, a little movement of the neck and the head, maybe a little movement in the shoulders or the spine, maybe a yawn, maybe a stretch. And if your eyes are still closed, you might consider starting to blink them open. And taking a little look around your space, orienting to here and now, this relative realm. So if working with the mind in that way, the being with and accepting and noticing the flow of the mind rather than the content, if that's new to you, I have a whole series on mindfulness of mind that's available to you. And that's a really great foundational technique that can, of course, then lead into all kinds of interesting stuff. Thank you for practicing with me.